Welcome to the Inner Growth Odyssey, where we dive deep into the heart of personal transformation and growth. I am Fortunate, your host on this journey towards self-discovery and improvement. I would love to welcome you officially to our very first episode, and today is a topic under the Developing a Positive Mindset sphere. So our topic today is embracing failure as a stepping stone to success. And this topic, other people may find that is more disheartening, but it's actually a powerful catalyst when you look at it at a different perspective. It's a catalyst for growth, learning from failure. For me, I can say that failure is a word that carries a lot of weight, because it can bring up certain feelings of shame, disappointment, embarrassment, discouragement, But one thing I can tell you is that failure is not the opposite of success. Instead, it's a part of it. And I'm going to be telling you guys two stories about individuals who did not allow failure to define them, and I'm also going to share my very own personal story with failure. So we can start by, when you hear the word failure, what comes to your mind? Like failure. What comes to your mind? What comes to my mind is not achieving what you wanted to achieve. Yeah. Not getting the result that you were hoping for. For me, that is fail. Yeah? We can start by a story that you may find surprising. I'm going to be talking about J.K Rowling, who is the author of the Harry Potter series. She was once a single mom, and she was living out on welfare, and she was struggling to get by. Her manuscript for the first Harry Potter book, it was rejected by 12 different publishers before it was finally accepted. Now imagine 12. Now for us, when we immediately think rejection 12 times, it becomes you end up asking yourself, there's no point in even trying, But she didn't quit. Instead, she went on. And today she's one of the best-selling authors of all time. Her story teaches us that the rejection and failure that we face, they are not the indicators of the value of our work or our potential, for future success. That is what I can say her story teaches us. And then the second one is Thomas Edison, whose name is synonymous with invention and innovation. His journey was not smooth sailing either. Thomas Edison, if you don't know him, is a guy who invented the light bulb. He experienced thousands of failures while he was trying to invent this electric light bulb. Now, when asked about his failures, do you know what he said? Famously, his response was, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Now, if we all develop this kind of attitude for ourselves, I'm telling you, we can go very far. Nothing is ever going to disturb us or hinder us or anything if we have the mind that Thomas Edison had. Yeah, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Yeah, I can say that it took a lot of guts, man. It took a lot of persistence for a person to keep on trying, approximately 10k times until he finally got it right. And his persistence in the face of failure did not only lead to the invention of the light bulb, but it's also set a tone of how we can approach our own setbacks and challenges. Hence, I'm saying, if we all develop that kind of mindset of not quitting, I think we'd all be very far, I think we'd all be very far. Now, my story, my story is quite consecutive. My fail is quite consecutive, and it ended up being something that I laughed about. It was something that we at home, we laughed about because we were expecting it. We knew, bro, okay. Okay. I think my problem for me started when mathematics started being broader. When numbers now started having relationships with alphabets. I think that is what put me off, because I had primary school from grade 6 to 7, mathematics was easy, and then grade 8, okay, get introduced now to the A plus B is AB, but then you get to grade 9 and then you start dealing with complicated stuff, and from grade 9 to grade 12 ends up saying that my fail was consecutive because there was no point in time where I received my report card and my mathematics didn't have a circle on it. And trust me, I'm not ashamed of this, because from that I've learned that mathematics is definitely not for you. Because you can go to extra classes, you can watch Mindset Learn, you can do, but if you're doing I you must not force it. So hence I'm saying, like, from grade 9 J to grade 12, we're talking calculus, simultaneous equations, trigonometry, geometry. That was when I realized, okay, I understand my brain now, and my brain is not suited for this kind of torture. It was not something that I wanted to learn. Even now, there's nothing that makes me want to go and learn math and rewrite and do things, because if I decided to go and rewrite, then I believe that I would have wasted my time in a way, because I would have been out there doing something else. Instead, I am here. What if I get the same result? What if I don't get the same result, but I just didn't want to find out? I just don't like math. And I'm happy that I took that decision, because I went and studied something else and I got distinctions in that. So math really didn't really, even though I had dreams, becoming something, or I had dreams of becoming a doctor, in the medical field, but I found that life doesn't revolve around mathematics at all. Okay, so that's it. So here's a question: how can we start to view failure as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block? The first step to doing this is when we reframe our perspective on failure, when we look at failure in a different way. Instead of seeing it as a negative endpoint, you rather consider it as part of the learning process, and then you can ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can it help me grow? Taking it back to my story, what did I learn from me failing math consecutively? It was definitely not for me. I didn't want to study it, and I did not. How can it help me grow? It helped me grow out of it. It helped me grow out of the mathematical bubble that math is helping us understand the world, and the world helps us to understand math. For logical reasoning, that's what they say math is about, logical reasoning, and what critical number something. Another key aspect is for us to embrace vulnerability. Sharing our failures with other people, it can be daunting, but there is power in vulnerability. I'm not sure if you know this. It not only helps us process and overcome our setbacks, but vulnerability also helps us connect with others, offering support and understanding. Just make sure that you're vulnerable to a person whom you trust about your failures. And just make sure that the person you are vulnerable to is someone who's not going to use that against you in the long run, or somebody who's not going to laugh at you, or somebody who's not going to look at you at a different way just because you're vulnerable to them about your failure. I hope that makes sense. And then the last thing would be to always remember to celebrate your resilience. Every time you pick yourself up after a setback, you're building strength and character. I want you to acknowledge your courage in facing failure and continuing to move forward. That in itself is a success. I think we all know that quote that says, fall 7 times, stand up 8. Yeah. And then that other one that says, you're not a failure until you stop trying, or until you stop getting up every time you fall. So just celebrate your resilience, because who knows that you might be actually building your success story of maybe you're doing something great now, or maybe you wanted to start a business, learn a new subject, learn a new skill, but you kept on failing, but you did not quit. And then now, who knows that your business or your skill or whatever might help you get where you want to be. It might actually be building a success story. Hence I'm saying, So that brings us to the end of our podcast. And I would just like to recap a little bit. How can we look at failure as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block? Step number 1, we must reframe our perspective on failure. Rule number 2 is to embrace vulnerability. Rule number 3, celebrate your resilience. I hope this episode has inspired you to look at failure through a different lens, a new perspective, and to recognize that growth and learning that come from our setbacks helps us achieve our goals. You must remember that failure is a step towards success. You must remember that every failure that you come across is a step towards something great. If you enjoyed this episode, please give me a follow and please leave a review and a rating. Please note that I'm in collaboration with Motivated Mindset. Please go subscribe on their YouTube channel, and I will leave their link below so that you can go and check it out. It's time. Keep embracing your journey, failures and all, as you strive towards becoming the best version of yourself. I would like to leave you with that. Please remember to stay kind and remember that God loves you. Until the next episode.